Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I'm currently just observing games and I figured since I saw Baltune and EL.CsOH was playing against each other in a Zhu Xi mirror, why not take a look at their games together and see what it is that two extremely high level players, top 10, top 12-ish, are doing so right. EL.CsOH has made it to round of 16. Round of 6, sorry, not 16, and Baltune have also been performing historically extremely well. He plays 7 at the Garrison, and EL.CsOH is now in round of 6 in EGC, Classic 3. So both players that are extremely high level, playing a really good Civ in a mirror matchup. What I want to do with this, and the whole purpose of this video, is I wanted to sort of do this kind of pro player watch series, where we take a look at high level games, and then we question what is it that these players do right. This is something that I explored together with Dawn not too long ago in a group session, and it's a really interesting topic that I just kind of want to keep working a little bit on here. Is when we're watching games, what is it that we're watching for? A lot of the times when people review their own games, they end up reviewing the games with the sort of intention of finding out what they did wrong. But how do you watch pro players? Well, instead of watching what the pro players do wrong, you watch what do they do right. Sounds simple, but a lot of people will sit and watch and not understand most of it, and that's okay. But if you can sort of start to recognize why is it that they're winning this engagement, why is it that their strat is better than the other guy, why is it this, why is that, then you'll start to be able to also understand it. If you're only watching your own games and you're never watching high-level players, then you'll also only have that as a reference point. So one of the best sort of things you can do is, watch pro player games and use it to analyze your own with. So what we're seeing here is a double meditation garden, which is to be expected. Baltune goes for quite a safe meditation garden here, where he gets stone, food, and a bunch of wood, whereas EL.CsOH is going to get double stone here, gold and food. So EL.CsOH for sure has the better meditation garden. Sorry, this is Baltune's, my bad. Let me turn this around. Can I do that? There we are. So Baltune's meditation garden for sure is quite a little bit more greedy. He's up a little bit later, but not a lot later. And the whole question becomes, are they going to play Zhu Xi with Pro Scouts, or are they going to play Fast Castle Zhu Xi? Because this is a mirror matchup, but it's also a Pro Scout matchup. And what a lot of people do in Pro Scout matchups is they'll instantly tech for Pro Scouts, go for the deer and maybe make units, and then there's the other type of Zhu Xi players that will instead try to make a lot of knights by going fast castle as fast as possible pace and just sort of go for that. But what we're seeing is both players are going for the Pro Scouts. So Baltune definitely has the cleaner build. He came out with a more greedy meditation garden, and he has a faster Pro Scout. What does EL.CsOH has? Well, EL.CsOH already has more scouts in production, so he's kind of faster with that, which means he's actually going to be able to start taking deers before Baltune will. And this is incredibly important to understand, that we can take the Pro Scouts technology and not have any scouts, or at least not a lot of them, and then that will put us behind. So what EL.CsOH has done here is he's taken his scouts, run them to the enemy deer pack, started taking those deers without Baltune even knowing about it. He does not see it. He's only focused on his own, and this is why EL.CsOH went for this faster, stable, delayed Pro Scouts, started with a lot more scouts when he got on the Pro Scouts, whereas Baltune just went straight for his own and has not really paid attention to his second deer pack. Now this is something that he can see through the fog of war, and something that he should be reacting to quite quickly. Otherwise, it becomes about EL.CsOH's deer packs, which are all in the top here, and he does see those as well. So if he's looking at this, he'll see, okay, this is being taken, and he has to look at this one as well, and now he's going there. So really interesting strat from EL.CsOH. I really like this play. It's very greedy in some sense, because if your opponent opened up with a barrack or something and started denying your deers, you would get no deers at all, and you'd have to go into Shuganu, which is a bigger investment. But this play from EL.CsOH is so disruptive, and it will probably work very well, although we don't know. I haven't seen this game before. It's a live game. As you can see, we are watching it at 1x speed right now. So really good strategy, I would say. Now, We can already see both players are macroing towards castle. They don't intend on staying in feudal. This is something that a lot of lower level players do as well. Even semi-pros. They stay in feudal for way too long. What does it mean? Well, it means that you might make a lot of units that you don't need because they'll get countered or you don't have anything to deny. CSO could indeed switch into barrack and archer range now and start playing defensive on his deer packs. But the thing is, Baltune's already going up. He's almost ready to go castle. And in doing so, well, all of the units that you would be making in the feudal age would be immediately useless. So instead, just go straight for the next age. Once you've secured your deer, we usually say 2 deer packs and then up. But CSO did a really cool thing here, which was to disrupt 1 deer pack. So he gets way more. Even though he for sure gets his the 2 of his own deer packs. Just having disrupted the deers here created a lot of space for him. And he's able to go Shaolin Monastery so much quicker than Baltune is. So, what do we learn from this? Well, we learned that in a Pro Scout matchup, especially these China or Zhu Xi matchups, maybe even against the Rus, can be a really good idea to open up stable first, get more scouts out before you get the tech in. Even if it's only 15 or 30 seconds later, it can mean the difference between getting up to castle and getting 3 relics instead of 2 relics, or maybe 4 relics instead of 1 relic. So, now we're up to castle, we're making lancers. What's really interesting here is CSO went for Shaolin Monastery. Baltune went for Mount Lu Academy. Mount Lu Academy being both an eco landmark, but also a landmark that's really good for aggression because of this technology here. Regional inspection. So if you go for regional inspection, you get 300% supervision. So instead of 150%, it's 300%, making a stable the same as 3 stables, if it's supervised. That means we don't also have to make a monastery. So in general, we'll be later on the unit production by doing this, but our unit production will be faster. You can only really go for this type of play here if you have the food. And Baltune does have the food for now, but does he have as much food as CSO? It's a good question. Warrior monks also help a lot here because they're easier to take relics with. If you're using normal monks, they're super fragile, but the Shaolin monks can take a couple of hits. And so the play around Shaolin monks versus Mount Lu Academy in a Pro Scout versus Pro Scout matchup, it's really difficult to take relics up against somebody who has Shaolin monks where you went Mount Lu instead. So this becomes more of an all-in play in some sense. It's much more aggression favored instead of this eco play, or I wouldn't call it an eco play, but securing the relic type of play. Baltune has a lot on gold here. He's getting his Dali horses, giving him 20% attack speed on his cavalry. So he's really going for this cavalry play here. Now he's taking the relic down in the bottom. He has 0 relics. And CSO is on the second one. He was there faster. So the monk up here is not able to get it. CSO went crossbows very early. And this is quite interesting. Why would you go crossbows early? Well, for defense probably. Because if you're up against somebody who has cavalry, a lot of the times the cavalry player will just run away. Does it mean now that CSO loses this fight? Absolutely. This fight is not good for CSO. Baltune has his 20% attack speed. Baltune has more knights. And so he messed up here, I would say. It's still quite an even fight because of micro. But they both lost a lot from this fight. Now CSO has crossbows. If these were like 2 more knights or something, I think he would definitely be able to take the relic. So the question becomes, did he make a crossbow switch too early? I would say so. The stable could have made more lancers, maybe a second stable. I've even seen players like Beastie go for 3 stables. It's really something with these Zhu Xi players, because they will go for Shaolin Monastery, and then they'll go like 2 or 3 stables, or they'll go for Mount Lu and then just do 1 stable. The thing is, they're paying for a monastery anyways, so it ends up kind of being the same. You just get more text and a faster relic collection with Shaolin Monastery. There's a lot of decision making here that makes a big difference, but it's the switch into crossbows early that is interesting. Is it worth it is the question. Well, CSO got 3 relics, so he's kind of already won the relic game that way, giving him the equivalent of 3 extra vills on top, 6 extra vills on top. Every relic is the equivalent of 2 relics. There's 2 villages. Every relic is the equivalent of 2 villages. There we go. And this meditation garden for Baltune is so good. Giving him so much stone. He doesn't have to gather any stone. He's on 400 right now. He could potentially look to go for a second TC or a keep play later down the line. CSO went for an eco play instead. He went for Xiangnan Tower. This makes his farms a lot cheaper. So they cost 53 wood. The 53 wood instead of 75 is 22 wood pure. So that's a lot better for the transition. But the thing is, does he need to transition right now? That is the question. Or is the Xiangnan Tower maybe a little bit too preemptive? For Baltune, he's just non-stop making knights. And this is a really, really good play. Because he plays into his technology. He's playing into his timing. Which is better horses. I don't think CSO has that tech. No. CSO does not have Dali horses. So he has better cavalry. 20% extra attack speed is a lot more. So 128 attack versus 150 attack speed. So it's a lot faster. These traits here are really good for CSO. Picking off a knight here for free. It all helps swing the favor, so to speak. If you notice their army value, it's identical. So, again, a really, really good play. Able to keep up with the army value, but on infantry instead. Probably fine when he wants to play Xiangnan Tower, because he can play into the farm and defend that better than if he had knights. Baltune is on full knights. He kind of has to do something with this. Because CSO is prepping for a better mid to late game. Baltune is way harder in the aggression. If this fails, CSO will probably have a really, really good time. So we understand that these have 2 very different approaches to playing the same civ. Baltune on the aggro, CSO on the more defensive, more static gameplay here. He's running knights, crossbow, spear. Baltune is on only knights, giving him a lot more mobility. He can do more with his knights in terms of attack, in terms of just having map control. Whereas CSO is sort of locked to his slower movement speed. So now Baltune with his map control goes for the boar. It's a good play. He will need the boar in terms when it comes to keeping up the unit production. He makes the tower. I wouldn't be surprised if he made a village. He does not. He already has his villages. Sorry, that's CSO. Yeah, so he should make his 3rd village here. CSO already has 3 villages somewhere. 1 here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And he's put those around the resources here to make it more safe. That's a really cool play as well. The villages play a big role in defense. It gives you so much more time when you want to defend a board, for example. It gives you a lot more... it gives you way quicker garrison if you have it around your resources here. Flash comes in. Crossbows get surrounded here. This is a pretty big micro mistake. He loses so many crossbows from this, and Baltune's knights shred CSO right now. This is so good for Baltune. So Baltune's aggro play, I think it looks pretty good, but honestly, CSO is able to keep up here. He has more army value, and Baltune ended up losing so many knights. The question is, can Baltune keep this up now, because he has actually lost this engagement? He can't. He taps out, he knows that he's too far behind, and CSO has been scaling too much. So is Baltune's play bad? No. But was it the right play here? Well, it turned out not to be. Because CSO transitioned better, and in AoE4, it's easier to defend than it is to attack. So even though Baltune got the map control, it didn't matter too much, because CSO continued to have food. He was ready to make the farm transition, even though I don't think it happened in this game. It was about to happen. Really interesting. I think Baltune, in theory, should be able to take maybe better trades. But the question is, can you do that when you're playing against a defensive opponent who doesn't need to fight? Not necessarily. CSO able to produce more, although these units, what we don't see is the army value is the same. Baltune's army is just higher quality units that cost more. But that's often what we see, spear crossbow being better for defense. Economy-wise, CSO a bit ahead in food. Baltune's got the stone. Baltune's got the gold. They're equal on wood. The food income was better for CSO. The tech timing was about 20 seconds apart. And to fuel age, it was about 10 seconds apart. So they're extremely tight. Like, they're so close, these two. Anyways, let me know what you think. This has been my first time doing this sort of Pro Watch. If you'd like to see more of this, then do like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.